now listening to the Lineman Lounge.
Where sleeves are optional.
Aren't you tired of the same old podcast? Aren't you tired of the same old things? Don't you want to switch it up a little bit? Listen up, cause I'm about to blow your brain. Let your seat kick back, let your feet relax. Come on over, take a listen to the Lineman Lounge. In the car, at your crib, anywhere that you want. Come on over, take a listen to the Lineman Lounge. Got the NFL, got MLB, got NBA, and some UFC. Got college sports, we talking fantasy. Come on over, take a listen to the boy Mike C. Only on
The Lineman Lounge.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Lineman Lounge, coming to you live from the Man Cave here in Hangar 6. First time ever giving it that little name, but we're going to give it a try. We got the thickest crew in sports entertainment here with you. I'm Evo, and the man over here, Mike Carlisle. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yes,
all right?
we do.
We got a little golf tournament that happened this weekend, a lot of stuff going on in sports, and even a mailbag question coming from some people from Gray Eagle. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I put your name on it. Don't be an anonymous person. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Quit being a little bitch is what we're trying to say.
That's exactly what we're trying to say.
All righty, Mike. So what do we want to kick off with today?
Man, so after this long weekend, right? You and I, we went out, played golf a couple times, got into that tournament. It was fun. Then there was just a shit ton of news coming at us all at once. That it was rapid fire, right? We're like, God, we got to cover this. But before we get too far into all the stuff that has just recently happened, I feel like it would be we would be remiss to not go back and talk about the Olympics that finally just wrapped up. Now, we don't want to get too deep into the woods on the Olympics, right? But we should absolutely cover it because this is something this is kind of like one of those historic Olympics. It didn't happen on its normal 4-year cycle. The 2020 Olympics happened in 2021.
Yeah.
That's insane.
First time ever?
Right? Yeah, I don't know that that's ever happened.
I would have just renamed it at that point.
Why not? They're gonna have one in 3 years.
It's the plunger Olympics. We're bringing up old shit. 2020. No one really wants to talk about it anymore.
100%. But we need to talk about it because, well, we're fucking America, and we're better than you.
Yep.
That's welcome to the Olympics. Enjoy your second or third place medals.
The big bald eagle is going to fly by, and it's going to drape its giant schmeat across your face. We're America. We win. It's what we do. We're the best.
Yeah.
We're the best. I mean,
So-
come on.
I mean, this medal count, the total medals is not even fucking close.
Yeah. So America came in number one, as expected. I mean, come on, babe. You know, who are we kidding here? All right. So 113 total medals. All right. That's 39 golds, 41 silvers, and 33 bronze. Next closest total medal count was China. All right. Which is to be expected. They have an assload of people,
Yeah,
and they
billions.
They have kids who are born, and they're told you're going to be an Olympian, and if you're not, you're probably just going to disappear. All right, it's China. All right, so China, they came in with 38 gold medals, so one less than the best. All right, 32 silver, 18 bronze for that total of 88. All right. And then
But
no one else really comes close.
That difference between 113 and 88. Now, China has some people, like we said, right? They are told from a very early age, hey, guess what? You're going to be an athlete. And they still don't even come close to getting the total amount of medals that the United States is getting. Now, they were close at golds. That's fine. I expect that. They have a much larger population. They have a bigger crop to choose from. But this is America. That's what we do. Like, we do sports. Every major sports organization in the world is in America. You get the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA.
NASCAR, hell yeah.
Fucking NASCAR. What? That's what we do. We basically run all of this stuff. Now, there are other countries who are very good at all these sports, but they don't have organizations like we do. That's one of the reasons that this show is so much fun is that we have the opportunity to have all of these world-class like organizations, these major leagues right here to talk about. This I'm excited to get into the rest of the show, but we had to hit on that on the Olympics.
100%. And you know what? This might be the first time that you have to bleep me out, which would be pretty surprising because I don't know if they might come after me for this. But Xi Jinping, you can suck my ding dong, America.
All right.
That's all I got.
Okay, good. All right. Hey, but one quick note. Allison Felix, you are fucking amazing. This is her 4th Olympics. She's been doing this for 20 fucking years. Just won another gold.
Absolutely. She's 35 years old and the most decorated track and field Olympian ever. Won her 10th and 11th Olympic medals in Tokyo. Won the U.S. women's 4x400 meter relay on Saturday with her teammates in order to take that title. So congratulations to Allison Felix. Awesome job.
Unbelievable.
America.
And United States men's basketball team. Thank you for pulling your heads out of your asses. There should never be a time where we don't win gold. We're the best. We've already talked about it. The NBA players. Yep. We're better. We should not be losing to France in the first couple games.
And that's the thing. So, we have a high majority of the best players, but obviously Europe has a lot of good players coming out. You'll see some players from other parts of the world that are playing, but they aren't enough to put together an entire incredible team like the U.S. has.
No.
And that kind of transitions us into Luka.
Exactly, right?
Luka.
Something we wanted to talk about. Luka balls out in the Olympics, right?
Phenomenal.
Put on some of the best performances the Olympics have ever seen, but it's not enough to get his team even into the gold medal game. However, he is definitely rewarded, not necessarily for his showing in the Olympics, but his showing in his time in the NBA with that new contract with the Mavericks. Rookie max, I think, 207, I think, was the total of the deal?
I'm not positive. I didn't really look at the numbers. It was 200 and something, but well deserved. Luka is, he's the lifeblood of that team now for the Mavs. Really fun player to watch. And I like that there isn't really a whole lot of drama with him. Yeah. I'm one of those guys that I don't really like the drama in sports. And he just seems like a fun dude and really fucking talented. And that's the type of guy that I like to get behind. Even though he's not an American, he's playing in the National Basketball Association in America. Yeah. Happy to have him here playing for the Mavs. Happy he got that big deserved contract.
Yep. 5-year, 207.
207.
That is a massive deal.
Big deal.
Good for Luka. He has the potential to go down as the greatest foreign-born player in NBA history with what he has put together so far. But he's obviously in the shadow of a guy who played for the Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki, who is probably him and Tim Duncan, 1-2 greatest foreign-born players. I mean, was Tim Duncan foreign-born or no? I thought he was French.
I don't think so, but man. I don't know. That quick fact check. I have no idea. I just assumed that he was from the U.S., but I'd like to be proved wrong.
Nope, I'm thinking of somebody else. Tim Duncan is definitely American. Good job, Tim Duncan.
America. Again. I don't know. Were you thinking of Yao Ming? They look the same, right?
So there were a bunch of dudes on that Spurs team that were from foreign countries. Maybe it was Tony Parker was the French guy. Because then there was Manu Ginobili also on that same team.
Yeah.
They had a ton of foreign-born players. Obviously, Yao was amazing, but injuries cut his career short. But there's been a ton of guys that have been really good foreign-born players, and Luka has the potential to be the best, for sure. So.
And what, Tony Kukoc, wasn't he
Serbian.
from Serbia as well?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm more of that old 90s Bulls type.
Right.
That's my basketball era, which is why I believe that Jordan's the best. But maybe that's an argument.
That is definitely an argument we will have at some point.
That would have to be like a whole show, and we might have to be drunk for it.
Yeah, so I actually grew up a Bulls fan because my dad, born in Chicago.
Yeah, my dad was from Gary, Indiana, right outside Chicago. Same thing. Bears, Bulls, Battlestar Galactica, and Beats. He loved it all. I don't know about the Beats part or Battlestar Galactica, but he was definitely a Bulls fan. I remember watching Jordan growing up, and I had, that was actually my introduction to football. I didn't like sports really, and I decided that I wanted to get a little more popular, get some chicks. I was like 6, so it was like time to start laying some pipe. And I started watching my dad's old VHS tapes of the Bears Super Bowl. So a little tidbit about me. That's how I actually got into football, was watching the Fridge, run for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, back when the Bears were good and they were on VHS.
Walter Payton. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Luka, big contract. Congratulations to him.
Absolutely,
Happy, very, very deserved. All right. So kind of moving on into the football realm of things. So first off, we'll start with some college football talk. Kind of a sad thing. Longtime Florida State Seminoles head coach Bobby Bowden passed away, 91 years old. He's iconic.
Legend.
One of the
Absolute
greats
legend.
of college football. At 91, pretty long life. So it was going to be coming sooner or later. But obviously, he's going to be sorely missed. He's ranked 2nd all time in Division I wins.
2 national titles at Florida State. I mean, he was the face of Florida football. That he was so longly tenured at Florida State. Put together some fantastic teams, fantastic games. Those Florida State-Miami games, the wide rights, those are classic, iconic games. He's, synonymous with that type of stuff. The college football world lost an absolute legend, like you said, 2nd all-time in wins. I mean, if he had stayed in longer, easily could have surpassed that total. I don't know who has it now. I know who did have it, who definitely does not have it anymore. He, which shall not be named, from Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. He did have it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Don't forget the past. The past stays in the showers, Mike.
I'm not gonna talk about him.
Yeah.
Because
Bobby Bowden.
Bobby Bowden is a legend.
We're respecting
Absolutely.
Bobby Bowden at this moment.
Yeah, I mean he was an absolute legend. There's not much you can say other than that. Yeah, what do you got anything on that, man?
No, it'll just be interesting to see what college football does this year. I'm sure they're going to probably try to do something in the NCAA to honor Bobby Bowden just because of the impact that he had, on that football team, on the football landscape in college, and all the players that were affected by him, Hall of Famers and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's just, we want to pay respects to Coach Bowden. So moving on from there, not a ton else college football news except for
one big, unbelievable item, things that we've kind of covered in the past, that this it's starting to go in an interesting direction with these name, image, and likeness deals. So Miami's quarterback, Darius King, has now signed a name, image, and likeness deal with a professional sports organization, but one that you may not expect. He is signed by the Florida Panthers, the NHL team.
Yep.
First college athlete to be signed on name, image, likeness with a professional sports organization. Insane. He's already got numerous other deals.
Yeah, I think I saw at least 4 other deals.
Yeah, so I have him here. He's got, I don't know what this is, College Hunks Moving Company.
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
Ooh.
The Murphy Auto Group, Dreamfield, The Wharf, and Panini America. So I count 5 others.
Panini America, that might be the biggest one.
I mean,
A lot of free sandwiches out of that.
I would eat. I mean, hey, when you're in college,
Who doesn't like a
fucking
panini?
panini.
Dude, supplying the team with paninis? The Hurricanes are going to ball out this year.
the Hurricanes might win that ACC because Clemson is definitely taking a step back, but we haven't got to that point in the college football season yet.
That's true.
So we'll get kind of into that. Coaches poll just came out today. I don't know if we want to get into that because we have a whole bunch of other NFL stuff we want to get into. But Darius King is absolutely getting fucking paid.
Yeah. And that's so I don't know the actual numbers of it. I kind of looked around. I didn't really see any firm numbers of what he's getting. The point is, previous to name, image, likeness being allowed, He's getting nothing.
Nothing.
Now he's getting something, and I'm happy for the players to be able to get that. Obviously, this is going to vastly change up the landscape of college football.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for these players. I'm happy for him. I had heard something before, and I tried to look up a little bit before the show to confirm it, that he had said something along the lines of like he was going to be kicking back some of that money to the players on his team, either players, everybody, or that it would be players who weren't able to get name, image, likeness deals. You know, guys probably like linemen and things like that who aren't going to be more, coveted for those NIL deals. I couldn't really find anything to substantiate that. Though that'd be a really cool thing for him to do. So I'm just happy for these guys being able to actually earn a little bit of scratch based off of their play and stuff. Because, you know, you go out there and you break your femur or something like that, and your college career is done. Yeah. You know, hopefully you can finish your degree and have a good career in life after that, but your earning potential is drastically hurt, so might as well get it now while you can.
Yeah, I mean, get your money when you can. I got no problem with people trying to secure their bag as soon as they can, and get as much as they can. Whatever somebody is willing to pay you is how much you're fucking worth. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. Whether you think athletes are getting too much money, sure. I mean, some of them make an absorbent amount of money, and that makes 100% sense that you think it's too much. But you are worth what somebody is willing to pay you. So if you're a college kid and they are willing to pay you 6 figures to go and show up at a Florida Panthers game, fucking take your money.
That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love hockey in person. That's a perfect thing for me, man.
I love hockey in person.
It's the best. It might be a bit of a controversial take because I love going to like NFL games and stuff like that in person. I like watching NFL on TV. There's an argument that NFL is better on TV than in person.
I agree.
College hockey and NHL in person is probably my most favorite sport to watch in person. It is very, very fun. I've taken people who have no idea the rules of hockey, who have never watched a hockey game before, and they leave being like, that was the coolest shit I've ever seen. There's fights. There's people throwing other, shoulders into people and slamming up against the boards. It's fast-paced action like all the time. There's not really lulls. It's a lot of fun. Not to get too far off topic from
right.
name, image, likeness, but that's my hot take of the day. Hockey, best in-person sport to watch.
Give me college football for that, especially in one of those smaller like University of Wyoming, where you're right there and it's smaller. Love that atmosphere.
I do love college football game day.
Don't get me wrong. Hockey games are so much fun. I spent 4.5 years in Alaska. Hockey games are great, especially when you get a little boozed up. Always 100%. A good time. But I don't know if Derek King's getting boozed up at these Florida Panthers games. I think he's 21 now. Maybe. I think he's a junior. He might be 21. But he's getting paid. Good for him. And if he is kicking back some of this money to his teammates, imagine the type of recruiting you could do if you have a Quinn Ewers, who is going to get name, image, and likeness deals early in the school. And Quinn Ewers says, hey, I'm going to kick back some of this money to other people who are not getting name, image, and likeness. That improves your recruiting because you're like, even if I don't,
I feel like
get
there's got to
deal,
be some legalities there.
Even
but
if I don't
really
get a deal,
good.
Quinn's going to hook me up.
I hadn't thought of that aspect yet. There's got to be some. NCAA is probably going to put a damper on that or something like that. If that's the case,
you would have
that
to.
would be pretty dope, huh?
That would be amazing.
That's how you build your college dream team.
That is how you build a culture. Like, hey, listen, I'm getting it. Everybody else can get it, and then you build that around a program. Recruiting is not going to be fair at certain places.
Let's all get paid. Let's all get this, awesome super team together. We're all going to get drafted.
Yeah.
Make even more money.
Yep.
Let's do it, boys. That's not a bad idea. I like your style, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing. But I'm not an 18-year-old kid anymore.
That's true.
So handing an 18-year-old kid a bunch of money, it might not go that way.
Well,
but
they like to spend their money on some interesting things. I know I did.
I definitely did. But speaking about handing dudes some more money, do you want to go Xavien Howard or do you want to go Darius Leonard first?
Let's do Darius Leonard. We'll start off with the easy one.
All right, so Darius Leonard, 5-year, $98.5 million extension, makes him the top paid inside linebacker in the NFL. Is this too much money for an off-ball linebacker?
In general, if we're not even talking about which player it is, yes. But situationally, I think it's perfectly fine. So for the Colts system, Darius Leonard is pivotal for their linebacker core. It depends on if you're playing a 3-4 or a 4-3, how much you pay those linebackers. I think if someone were to say, if you get a prime Ray Lewis in the middle of his contract right now, would you pay that? 100%.
Yeah.
In this current day and age. I'm not saying that Darius Leonard is Ray Lewis, but he is probably top 2, 3 inside linebacker right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
You've got Bobby Wagner, Eric Kendricks, and Darius Leonard. And so Fred Warner, just got a big deal. He's, I believe he plays outside because he's a little bit smaller. I'm not positive on that. It says here he's an inside backer.
Well, even if he is an outside backer, he's a still off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
You're not seeing these types of deals for off-ball linebackers. You see this for your outside linebackers who are edge rushers.
Yeah, edge players. Which makes sense because that's kind of that mix of defensive end or a 3-4 outside backer type thing. But for Darius Leonard, he is the general on that defense. Yeah. He's their defensive identity. He's been a stalwart since he came in the league a couple years ago. Really great pick, I believe, 5th-round pick for him. I love the hard-nosed type of player that he is. I'm happy that he got the contract. And like we talked about before, salary cap's going to go up. Yeah. So it's better for them to get this deal done now and then watch the contracts inflate a year, 2 years down the line for these guys. So keep that defensive identity. Keep that general there for the team. Make him happy. And, yeah, I absolutely think it's worth it.
So, very excited for Darius Leonard. This is a fantastic deal, being the top-paid inside linebacker. But I'm starting to drink that Cleveland Browns analytics Kool-Aid, where you do not need to pay a linebacker this much money. They do not affect the game as much as other positions do on the defensive side. This is so much money. Now, if Darius Leonard, he's good in pass coverage, but he is not the typical guy I think of who is going to cover a tight end. In that AFC, can Darius Leonard cover a Travis Kelce? Can he go out and lock down a really good tight end? I don't know. He's good in pass coverage, but he's not that guy. I would want a little more versatility to see this type of money, but that's that Cleveland Browns analytics. We don't pay linebackers. We're bringing in random.
So that's the thing is, like I said, by and large in the NFL, this is too much for a linebacker, regardless of how good they are. I mean, unless you bring up your Ray Lewises and Terrell Suggs, different type of players like that, and not to say that Leonard is that. He's 26 years old right now. He's got a lot of career left in front of him, so who knows? Excuse me. But, by and large, the linebacker is one of the least effective positions on the field. The wins above replacement for a lesser player usually is not that great of a disparity. So this is the same argument that I have with running backs. So I've said this before. Running backs is one of my favorite positions on the football field. However, whenever you get to the point of re-signing your star running back, your Christian McCaffreys, your Dalvin Cooks, your Nick Chubbs, all right, those deals tend to not work out in the long run in the favor of the team paying out that big money. Right. They can go for a platoon of players that's going to cost half of that one player's contract and get the same overall production or not that much less while still being just as productive overall on offense. And it's the same type of thing with linebacker. So it is team specific though. I'll say that. You need to have really, really strong, talented linebackers in certain systems where, let's say, your defensive line is not good at pass rushing and they are just kind of like hole cloggers. That allows the linebackers the freedom to roam, and those are your guys that are going to be doing the blitzing, the rushing, getting to the quarterback. Certain defensive systems are predicated on having very dynamic linebackers and good linebackers where you don't need as strong of defensive linemen. You can just have those big maulers out there that are just there to clog stuff up. It's not as common because normally you do want some really strong edge rushers from your defensive ends to get after the quarterback. But in certain scenarios, there's reasons why you want to have, extremely talented linebackers and why they're extremely important to your system. I don't know that the Colts are one of those teams, but like I said, honestly, I couldn't name another linebacker right now on the Colts team.
Yeah, Anthony Walker's now in Cleveland, so I couldn't either.
Yeah. I'm sure I could pull up a depth chart and be like, oh, yeah, I know that guy, or, he's actually pretty good. But the point is that their defensive identity, and especially their linebacker identity, is Darius Leonard. So if they're paying one guy a lot of money and the rest of the guys, average money, then it's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. It's a lot. Darius Leonard is a stud, so I'm absolutely not going to sit here and disparage Darius Leonard and say he doesn't deserve the money.
Hey,
it's just so much money for a linebacker.
It is a lot of money. I will give you that. But 2020, 132 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries.
Yeah, he's all
phenomenal
over.
year.
Yeah,
Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2018, second time All-Pro. He's a tremendous player.
Yes. Okay, so we'll make that transition from Darius Leonard over into Xavien Howard. Xavien Howard gets his deal restructured and is staying in Miami. Did you foresee this happening? What do you think about
I know
the
you
details?
didn't foresee it happening.
Absolutely
You
did
said
not
he
see
was
it.
gone.
I thought for
So
sure.
I thought it was a strong possibility that he'd be gone, but I didn't want to close the door on it yet. And part of me thought that because of that statement that he put out. So we talked about his statement that he put out before, and I was vocal about how I thought it was a good way of going about it. So he wasn't going out and just like absolutely trashing the team. I thought he did it in a little bit more of a classy way, even though he did kind of say some things that could have been construed by fellow players as a little derogatory towards their talent, especially in the cornerback room. But again, I don't think that he was incorrect in those things. It's just things that you don't want to say publicly. But the way that he went about it, I thought he didn't trash the team. He said, this is why I'm requesting a trade. I would like to get paid what I think I'm worth. And I think that is what left the door open for the team to be able to work something out with him. All right. And this is the first time ever that a player with 4 years left on their contract gets this restructuring, gets extra money out of it. So good for him. I mean, it's also one of the struggles with me of, hey, you signed a contract, you should finish out that contract. But if you are so severely underpaid, then it's worth it to fight for your worth. Because in the NFL, careers aren't that long. No. So you got to make your bread while you can.
Yeah, so I thought for sure Xavien was gone. And I'm actually really surprised based on what they did that they were able to make this work. Because they didn't really give him a whole lot of new money. Mm-hmm. They just started to make more of his money guaranteed, converting roster bonuses into guaranteed salaries. Because he was supposed to get, $12 million in non-guaranteed money in 2021. Now it's guaranteed. So obviously NFL players love guaranteed money. Guaranteed money is huge for an NFL player because if you're injured, you're not getting paid.
Well, it's even bigger this year. With all these COVID rules and stuff going on, guaranteed money up front matters. Because if your team can't play because of a COVID outbreak, your money's guaranteed.
Yep. It does not matter. You're getting paid. Then they are converting roster bonuses, workout bonuses. They are, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, they're rescinding his fine for not showing up to camp, which we didn't know. We thought it wasn't legal to do that anymore.
I know that was a thing in the previous CBA, and I thought under this CBA that if there was fines for not showing up to camp, that the team could not waive those. Yeah. And I'm sure these teams are filled with lawyers in the front office. They could figure out a way to either just kick back some of the money so that way, yeah, you got fined $90,000 for practice. We're also going to give you exactly $90,000 times X amount of practices more on top of your contract as a little bonus. That's going to negate that whole situation type thing. I don't know how that works. I thought you couldn't do it, but it did say that they waived those fines. My big question is, like you were talking about, they convert a lot of this stuff into guarantees. Is this going to come up again with Xavien Howard in a year or two? Yes. Are we going to be looking at him saying, okay, now I'm still the best cornerback on my team. I'm glad that we worked something out, and you made me happy for a year or two. But I still think that I should be paid like
this
a
is
top
for
5.
1 year. This is not the restructuring of multiple years of the deal. This is 1 year for this year. I think that this comes up again, and if it doesn't, I think Miami maybe even looks to move on from him anyway.
Potentially, that's possible. So, like, the Minnesota Vikings did the same kind of thing with Danielle Hunter. So, Danielle Hunter, star defensive end, didn't play last year because of a neck injury, but he was severely underpaid on his contract.
Yes, he was.
And they worked out a deal with him to make him happy for this year. Basically, converted all sorts of money, pushed it forward to this year, gave him all sorts of guarantees, and now his contract is set up where by like 5 days in the league year next year, either the team has to cut him to save his cap hit, which is going to be huge. It's going to be very large, or they can restructure him at that point. So basically they said, hey, we're going to make you happy this year. We don't have time to talk about this right now, or we don't have the money to talk about this right now, or we're not going to be able to predict what sort of cap space we have in the future right now. Right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you all these guarantees up front. Now we're going to set it up so next year, if we sit on our hands and we don't do anything, you're going to get paid a lot of money. Or now we can go back to the table. We can restructure.
Or, by the way, hey, Danielle Hunter,
out.
you're about to be a free agent.
Yeah.
That is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
They're not going to – because that cap hit is what, over $20 million?
Yeah, I want to say it's like 27, 28 million or something like that.
So Danielle is a good player.
Yeah.
He ain't that good.
No.
$27 million.
I don't think there's a defensive end in the league right now that's worth that.
No.
But that's the thing is we'll either trade him, we'll cut him, or we'll work out a new deal with him that's going to change what that cap hit is going to be for next year. Which, of course, my hope is I love Danielle Hunter. He's my defensive end is, what I played. I played a mix of defensive end and linebacker, depending on if we played a 3-4 or a 4-3 while I was in high school. I love defensive ends. I really hope that we work it out with him and figure out a deal that's going to work for him. Realistically, I would assume that next year there's going to be a bunch of new big contracts that come out. I wouldn't be surprised to see Danielle Hunter get the highest paid defensive end contract in the league because the team – the reports – I was listening to some Vikings training camp stuff before I came here today. Apparently he's looking like a fucking monster. He's looked great in camp before, but apparently he's looking like a superhuman freak out there right now, which he – before looked like that. The guy looks like he's got like 2% body fat. Is just a stud. So hopefully we figure it out and work it out with him.
He's an absolute stud. That money, nobody's worth that amount of money. Myles Garrett's not even worth that amount of money. And I love Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett might be my favorite player on the Cleveland Browns outside of Nick Chubb because I was a running back in high school. Right? I played linebacker, and I would bump out to corner because I was not big enough to play defensive end. But weak side linebacker, corner, and then I played fullback, halfback. So those are the positions that I love and I love talking about. Nobody's worth that amount of money. He's going somewhere. But in this same token, like this deal does not set up for peace in the future for Xavien Howard.
Yeah.
This is a take your money now so we can shut you the hell up. We'll deal with this again in the next offseason because there's no way this doesn't come up again. Listen, he's not the highest paid corner on his team. That's Byron Jones.
Yep.
Okay. He wants to be the highest paid corner, at least on his team, probably the highest paid corner in the NFL. So he's got his guaranteed money. He's going to want another restructure. He's going to want either out of his deal more guaranteed money or just basically a revamp.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the thing is, so like I brought up with Danielle Hunter, they said, hey, we are going to put these indicators in where we are going to make a decision next offseason. Yeah. All right? So let's keep you happy now. We'll figure it out next offseason. With Xavien Howard, they really haven't said that. They're almost acting like, hey, this has just put, a bookend to the whole ordeal. I don't think that's going to be the case. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him next year. There might be a very good cornerback out there on the market, trade or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely see some team. A team could make a play for sure for Xavien Howard because if this is going to come up again next year, Miami knows it's going to come up every damn year. So get him out of your building, get rid of the headache, get him. Somebody's going to pay him, and it just won't be you. You'll take another asset.
Or maybe he has a down year, and then they're like, hey, you're actually not worth all that money that you wanted, and maybe he stays quiet. A year time can help a team out a lot.
Yeah, it absolutely can. But All right. Where are we going next? We going to? Do I get to go bury my guy out in the Jets? Or?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at. Is that so? Mike's favorite quarterback in the NFL draft this year, Zach Wilson, taken by the Jets,
Fucking hate him.
has been looking pretty good so far in camp. So I know Mike wanted to talk about that.
I sure do. But before I do this, I'm gonna let you go ahead and run. I'm gonna have it put in a chew because I'm so excited to say I was right. So I'm gonna be right back. Go ahead, talk to people for a minute.
All right. So Zach Wilson, the news reports are that Zach Wilson has been having hiccups in camp. All right. So he didn't report exactly on time. They hadn't worked out his deal yet, which is always kind of like, oh, is the guy going for money or something like that? Is it really worth it as a first round pick? But he hasn't looked phenomenal in camp so far. The 14-year-old kid, or so he looks, has had his errors, his hiccups, and whatnot. But his head coach actually spoke up for him and said, hey, there's a Hall of Famer who was inducted on Sunday that had a 71 quarterback rating in his rookie year, and he turned out all right. He's speaking about Peyton Manning, the giant forehead. And look, I'll say this. I actually liked Zach Wilson. I think he's a decent quarterback prospect. Going to the Jets, I think, is a hellhole for any quarterback, though I like Robert Saleh a lot as a head coach. I think that he has the potential to kind of turn the culture on that team. We'll see what happens. And so when Wilson went to the Jets, that's when I was kind of like, yeah, his career's in jeopardy already. All right. But the book isn't written for me. I take all these negative camp notes and even the positive camp notes with a heavy grain of salt, because camp is camp. It is practice. It is where you're meant to go, make mistakes, fuck up, learn the system. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to take his lumps more than likely. A lot of quarterbacks are not going to come into the year or into the league year one and perform, like a superstar. So, like I said, I take this with a grain of salt. Yeah, supposedly he hasn't looked very good in camp, but I'm not ready to say he's, a bust or anything like that.
Okay, so this Jets team should be improved. Okay, they add some talent. They got some weapons. It's not like Zach doesn't have anybody to throw to. And I am on the same train as you. I really like Robert Saleh. He is going to be a great coach. Defensive-minded coach, which does not help a rookie quarterback. But I really like Robert Saleh. He is, I think, going to help push the Jets in the right direction. But if you listen to any of the early podcasts, right, we did the Facebook Live video. I have been out on Zach Wilson basically since Jump Street. I did not see the appeal in this kid. And some of the reasons why are, before this year, who knew Zach Wilson? Did anybody know Zach Wilson before this year?
I'm sure some people knew who
Some
it
people
was.
out
The
in
Disney
Utah.
Channel or something like
Yeah,
that,
I
because
mean-
they thought he could be the next, Justin Bieber or something like that. Like I said, he looks like he's 14. But yeah, he was not one of the talked up, hyped up quarterbacks.
So this is a guy out of nowhere playing for a BYU, doesn't play strong competition. Did not put up great numbers. Put up good numbers, not great numbers. Has a ton of arm talent, as you saw in his pro day, with his off-balance throws, and a guy who doesn't necessarily have to operate from the pocket. The guy, in my opinion, who doesn't operate well from the pocket. Flushes way too quick. He reminds me, he looks, when I watch him play, he looks exactly like Blaine Gabbert. He looks exactly like Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert was a guy with a ton of arm talent. Could throw from multiple angles. Played at Missouri, so they played tougher competition, right? He would immediately flush from the pocket and try to win with his athleticism and his really good arm talent. That is, I've just described everything that people were raving about Zach Wilson. His off-schedule plays. He doesn't win from rhythm, timing. He tries to out-athlete you, but this is the NFL. and you are on the Jets. While they are going to be better, they are not a top-tier team. They do not have a ton of top-tier talent. Okay, his numbers from the green-white practice, that's their little scrimmage they do at the basically towards the end of camp. Go against the Jets' first-team defense. I mean, this is the Jets' first-team defense that is not stellar by any means. They got a couple good players, like huge fan of Marcus May. He went 11 for 24 for 112 yards in 2 hours. That is terrible. Through multiple picks, has looked bad consistently in camp. Now, I understand there's going to be rookie growing pains. But anybody who makes a comparison to what Peyton Manning did in his rookie year to what is going to happen with Zach Wilson is very naive. Robert Saleh has to say those things because he's his guy. That's who the organization picked for Robert Saleh to be his starting quarterback. I don't know that Robert Saleh makes that same pick. I don't wish ill on Zach Wilson. If he proves me wrong, I will gladly come on this show and say I was wrong.
Yeah, that's so. We're not against Eden Crow for incorrect takes, which I think we're gonna have one coming up a little later on.
Yeah.
But so I'll say this: I don't know if I agree with the Blaine Gabbert comparison completely. Now, some of the actual physical trait things that you're talking about, I do kind of agree with. But I thought Blaine Gabbert was a reach as a first round pick in general. You're looking at a 2011 NFL draft class that was just devoid of quarterback talent. You've got Cam Newton, all right, and then
Former MVP.
Andy Dalton. Sure, absolutely. You got Andy Dalton, the star quarterback of the Chicago Bears this year.
Yeah, well, also took the Cincinnati Bengals multiple playoff appearances.
100%, but I don't know that he's really much more than an average to above average quarterback at his peak. And then you've got Colin Kaepernick, who I think is the next most notable name out of that group. All right, but you've got your Jake Lockers, your Christian Ponders, and Blaine Gabbert. All right, so I didn't really see much out of them. The closer comparison to Wilson that I think I see is Manziel, Johnny Manziel. All right, Manziel was an athlete and an off-script type of guy, but I think Manziel also came with all that extra baggage and stuff like that. He was extremely cocky, and he was just surrounded by crazy amounts of talent. All right,
Yeah, Mike Evans.
that Wilson didn't really have. Wilson had some talent, especially better talent than the other teams around him, but not up to the level of, like your Johnny Manziels and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Wilson. Like I said, the book's not written on him yet. A bad practice, bad year. Even if he has a bad year, I'm not writing him off just yet. I think by next time we'll start to see if he's actually trending and progressing as he should be. What I like about him is his moxie. So that Manziel reference, I was put off by him because of the cockiness and because he was so untraditional. And turns out that he just didn't have what it takes to be an NFL starting quarterback.
Or a professional.
That's true.
And I think Johnny would agree with that as well. He was not a professional.
And Wilson, I think, has a lot of moxie. The cockiness might come out, and New York is not a great market for a person with that sort of an attitude. So it'll be really interesting to see if he matures quickly or not. And I think the biggest hurdle that he's going to have is having that kind of boyish kid mentality and being put under this immense pressure of that market. It's the mental aspect of being in New York.
That New York market will chew you up and spit you out. It absolutely will. He does not look like the CEO of a franchise, which is what you want your quarterback to be. He has a ton of arm talent. I don't know that it's going to transition. I think that this jump, and another guy that this also kind of reminds me of, who had a decent rookie year and then really, really fell off, Chicago Bears. I just forgot his name.
Trubisky?
Trubisky. A guy who
Trubisky was
came out of
garbage.
nowhere. Trubisky had an electric arm in college. He jumped way up the draft boards.
He did, but man, that's another guy I thought was way overdrafted, and I think he was surrounded by an elite defense and a solid supporting cast around him. And Nagy came in with a good offense from the Chiefs, and was able to boost up Trubisky for a year or so. But I mean, we get into stats on Trubisky. That guy can't throw left.
No.
He cannot throw left, which is pretty bad.
Which is half the field.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with Zach Wilson. Like I said, it's not book's not written on him yet, but hasn't looked the best in camp.
Yeah, I will take that as a win for right now. If he comes back and proves me wrong, I will be back on the show saying, you know what? I was wrong about Zach Wilson.
Yep. So something that I think that we were both kind of wrong on last week.
Yeah.
And admittedly so. UFC, we had UFC 265, and the only fight that we really gave a whole lot of attention to was Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis. So Derek Lewis is the name that I knew. Cyril Gane was someone that I didn't really know. We said, hey, Cyril Gane, he's 9-0, so obviously he's got some talent. Guy's 6'5", 245, big fucking dude. We'll see if that translates, and it 100% did against Derek Lewis. He completely owned that match.
You don't see heavyweights move the way that Cyril Gane can move. I did not know that about him. He looked smooth. He dominated that fight from beginning to end. He had Derek Lewis off his game. Derek could not get comfortable, get into a rhythm with the striking. I thought that minus 270 or plus 330. Well, no, what was it? Minus 330 for Cyril Gane, plus 270 on the line was way off. I was incredibly wrong. I'm just going to listen to Vegas.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why we don't work in Vegas, I suppose, is that we don't have the research on these guys. But yeah, Derek Lewis, his balls were cold. His balls were cold on Saturday. Cyril Gane had his number.
Oh, yeah. Cyril Gane is a stud. I didn't think that there was anybody who could really compete with Francis. Cyril Gane may be able to do something. If he can stay away.
I believe he actually trained with Ngannou so it makes a little bit of sense to come from the same camp. Bon Gamin might be a good fight for Ngannou at some point in time here in the near future.
Yeah, I think if he can move the way he did, stay out of that power, the way he was able to stay away from Derek Lewis's power, he may be able to give Francis a run. Cyril Gane, I am sorry, man. You are a fucking stud, and I slept on you. I did not know, but the UFC has a new heavyweight champ. There will be a new contender when they do this unification fight. It's not going to be as one-sided, I think, as people think it is. Francis has some competition, which it didn't look like he had much. There was always the talk of John Jones, if he ever comes back and fights again. And then you always have Stipe, who's that greatest heavyweight of all time, or at least in that conversation. Now Cyril Gane has definitely cemented himself as a 100% challenger to Francis's reign. I don't know, man. I'm very excited. I am going to try to, every time Cyril fights, I am definitely watching now, because to see what he did as a heavyweight, you do not see very often.
Yeah. You know what? I think Ngannou's still the best heavyweight out there. Hopefully they pay him his money and get his contract figured out with the UFC, because that's the fight I think that we're all going to kind of be looking forward to now.
Yeah.
Ngannou's my guy. I think he has the reign on the heavyweight title for a while once he gets it all figured out. But it is good to see that there are actually some up until watching Cyril Gane fight, I was like, there's no real super exciting competition for him. I feel like Ngannou's gonna win every fight that he goes until he calls it quits or he starts to fall off due to age or injury or something like that. The only interesting one that I think that there was even talk about out there was John Jones, and even that one I'm kind of like, hey, John Jones is getting old.
I'm kind of out on John.
That's the thing. Like it was more just like watching Conor McGregor fight recently is that I think his time's over.
Yeah.
But he's a fun name to watch. He's a fun fighter to watch. So I'll actually be interested to watch that sort of fight. Same thing with if John Jones were to fight Ngannou. It's going to be interesting to watch, but I think Ngannou's still got it. You know, it's still is his fight to lose at that point.
Yeah.
So
Well, Father Time catches up with everybody. We've said that numerous times on the show, right? So I think Father Time is finally catching up. I'm a huge Stipe guy. Stipe is a Cleveland guy. So
oh yeah, Stipe was my heavyweight before.
I run with Stipe. I would love to see him try again, but Stipe is on the backside of his career.
Yeah.
He is also getting old. Father Time is catching
And that
up.
fight with Ngannou, I think, showed everything that we needed to see there.
Yeah, but Cyril is a young guy. He is up and coming. We could see a trilogy out of Ngannou and Cyril Gane, depending on how these fights look when they get made, because they are going to get made at some point. I'm very excited for that. That heavyweight division, I mean, I was huge on Stipe. Obviously, DC is a legend, but Stipe had DC's number. I mean, after that first fight, DC got him. Stipe came back and looked fantastic. And going into that third fight, I was like, Stipe has this. DC is on the backside of his career. He is about done. And we're starting to see that kind of fall off. Now we have two young, exciting contenders in that heavyweight division. I'm very excited to see the way all that stuff goes.
Yep. It'll be really fun to watch going forward. Again, hopefully Ngannou's contract situation gets worked out between him and the UFC. Dana, quit being a bitch. Pay the man. He deserves it. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, Mike? We've gone over a lot of topics.
We have one last thing to cover, and we have to do it quickly because I think our camera's getting ready to die pretty soon. But don't worry, this won't take a lot of time. So we had our first email come in.
Yep, first mailbag question.
First mailbag question comes from Gray Eagle. I'm pretty sure I know who sent this in.
Well, so it says Gray Eagle, but it's please cover freestyle canoeing. Very respectfully, your faithful fans. So this is a consortium of people who don't want to be named, just called Gray Eagle. Again, don't know what that means. Sounds pretty stupid to me.
We know who it is. And we appreciate you guys watching, listening.
100%.
For everybody watching or listening at home, obviously, please like, subscribe on the YouTube. Listen, rate the podcast on any podcast platforms. Interact with the show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. We got all the social medias. We're all over the place. But we will quickly cover this. I want you to read what you read to me before the show started on what the hell freestyle canoeing is.
So for anyone that wants to view what we're talking about here with freestyle canoeing, all you have to do is go to YouTube and just type in freestyle canoeing, specifically a 2007 freestyle canoeing by Mark Ornstein. All right. So freestyle canoeing, or American freestyle canoeing, is the art of paddling a canoe on flat water with perfect control of its movements. The canoe is usually leaned over to the side to help the boat turn sharply and efficiently, and paddle strokes are taken on either side of the canoe depending on the individual move. Balance, paddle placement, and turn initiation are a few keys to this control. Since the movements seem dance-like, some practice this art timed to music, which is the ultimate in control. All right, so
freestyle canoeing is dog shit. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to say it very quickly. This is the stupidest fucking thing on the internet. The only good part about freestyle canoeing are the comments. Read the comments from our guy, JC.
All right, so I will say this. If you were be taking some psilocybin or some mushrooms or, smoking a lot of the devil's lettuce, maybe it's going to be interesting or at least funny to watch. But the comments on this video, 100%, everyone should go take a look at them. So 2 weeks ago, actually, a comment from the one and only Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is seeing Mark Ornstein do what Mark Ornstein was born to do makes me so proud. All right, so that's a nice comment from Jesus Christ there. All right,
I mean, those are big props coming from the JC.
Another comment, it's been a long road, but it looks like I finally got to the end of the internet and now have seen everything. And what a magnificent finale this is.
Fuck freestyle canoeing.
It's like he's the tip of Bob Ross's paintbrush.
I'm done. I'm done with freestyle canoeing. I can't do it anymore. This is bullshit. Like,
This was
thank you, Grey Eagle.
Ornstein. This was Ornstein at his peak before the glitz and the glamour of American freestyle canoeing got to him. Sad story. So, thanks for writing in, faithful fans. Freestyle canoeing, if you want to waste approximately 5 minutes and 24 seconds of your life watching the video, it has The Lady in Red by Chris de Burgh as the song that is being paddled to. Go and check that out. But other than that, send in more questions to us, and we'll go over some other bullshit sports that you guys have, or some interesting things, personal questions like we've said that we're open to talking about. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us today.
Yeah, it does, man. We got to get out of here. We're about to die. You got football practice go, Coach. I got some video editing to do to get this ready for the people to watch. So, guys, thank you very much. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us. Even the emails that you send in. Once again, go out, watch the show, subscribe to the YouTube, go and interact with the page, listen, rate, like the podcast everywhere podcasts are found. Thank you very much. Can't wait to talk to you guys again on Friday. As always, sleeves are optional.
And I'm optioning that right now, going with the sleeves.
It's a little
Have a good one, everybody.
See you.